What's up, party people? This is Tarkus Jude Mossberg here from Facebook, Jude's Junk Facebook comic book shop and YouTube channel. Calling from McCall, Idaho. We went fishing all morning, swimming all day, and now my son is doing football. So someone asked a general question. Obviously, they've been collecting for years, but they've been out of the whole game, and they're probably my age, 50s, 60s, and wanting to sell books. And they're asking a simple question: what technology do I need to do auctions? Okay, I'm assuming they're not talking about like eBay auctions, like back in the day. What was that? 26 years ago, you used to have a third-party app to snipe someone, right? Well, you don't do that anymore. The way it works is it's just all done through eBay now. You know, you put in a $400 bid. It doesn't mean you would put in a $400 bid. You just have $1 or something like that above the other guy. And if someone tries to snipe you at the end, if your bid is high, then you'll just keep. So you don't need any third-party software, is my point. But I think they're talking about how you do auctions on Facebook. As someone that tried some, didn't really know what I was doing, I just thought I'd jump right into it. You got to find which group you want to use it on. Find the groups that are attracting the kind of auctions that you're watching. They usually are $1 start. There's usually a hard end date. And what you do is you turn off commenting exactly at midnight on Tuesday the 19th Pacific Standard Time. And then that would be 4 hours earlier for Pacific Standard Time. So Eastern Standard Time. So maybe that's what you do. You know, midnight at Eastern Standard Time, you turn off commenting, and then whoever has the highest bid wins it. That is kind of the auctions that a lot of people like. We can time it. We know how to run in at the very end and get our bids in. And those have always been the ones I've bought over. So they attract more people because everyone's looking for a deal. So if you're looking for fair market value, you don't want to do auctions. You want to move books quickly. You want to move dollar books that otherwise wouldn't be bought. So if someone can get a $5 book for $2, they might get excited. And it might sit there on eBay for a year. You may never sell that $5 book, and eBay is going to take 15% anyway. So you got to have some big keys in there. So you find the group you want. Follow some guys that do these auctions on Facebook. Follow them. See how they do it. See how they get their bumps. You know, a lot of times they'll comment and give positive feedback to every single bid. I got your bid, okay. And then when someone outbids them, he'll go back through and tell, you know, you're outbid. So there's a lot of commenting on it, but Facebook doesn't like this. So they could hide it for too many books. Let's say you put up 100 books, and then they might wipe that out because that's too many of your own comments. They think you're just spamming the system, so they could actually take it down just because they think it's spam. So there's a magic number, so you need to do some research with the guys who do the auctions. They might say, you know, spread it out. You know, maybe put 10, 15 up, and then put 10, 15 up later, or maybe 20 up and then 20 later, or something like that. The longer you add books, you know, 200-300 books, becomes very hard for us to get in there, scroll down to the end, and actually bid. So once you get up to 200-300 books, it's probably too big. It's hard for us, whether we're using Wi-Fi, 5G, phone, or computer, to actually search through. And there's a lot of people doing that, and so things are slow and can get glitchy. And so do a reasonable amount of books. Do your research. Talk to other auction people. Say, how many books are you doing? How much time do you advertise? What Facebook groups do you do it in? And then how long in advance? A week is too much, I think. I think people are like, you know, whatever, I'll just put it on my calendar, and then they might miss it. And so you're talking 3 days. You know, it's Friday. You tell everybody, you put it up Friday morning. You say it's going to be done by Sunday night, Monday night. And then they could save that and not lose interest, because you want some, what do they call it? Lost leaders? That might be the name. Some big, hot, raw books. I'm assuming you're doing raws and not graded. So you want your Wolverine 8s, you want all your X-Men's that are popular right now, you want your X-Men 221, 239, 213, you want the raw hot books. That's going to draw people into the store, just like a grocery store. They have the eggs in the very back. That's called the loss leader. They want you to walk through the whole store to pick up their eggs in hope that you buy something else. They're not making anything on 99-cent eggs. And so you, as an auction, as doing an auction, you might lose money on that $50 Wolverine 8. Maybe you sell it for $35.40. Sometimes you'll sell it for more than what it's worth, because then you'll be like, what just happened there? I don't know. Let's say it's a $50 Wolverine 8 and you sell it for $40. Okay, you lost $10, but they bought 10 other $3 books that were just no name fillers taking up space. You couldn't even sell them for $1 if you wanted. So those 10 $3 books is 30. So you're moving inventory. That's what those auctions are for. They're people that buy in bulk and they want to move inventory. So find the group you want to do it on. You can't really cross auctions on different groups. A lot of groups frown on that. And it gets confusing to the buyer. It's like, is it on this group or is it in a different group? So don't just go in cold to a group. Get to know the admins, get to know how they allow auctions, get to know the guys doing auctions, how often do they do it, why are they trustworthy. They're gonna have a template which gives all the directions to buyers. Make sure you create yourself a good template. And then when you put it up, find out if you're pre-approved or if you have to wait until they approve it. So if you put it up Friday for a Sunday deadline, but that group doesn't approve it until late Saturday, you're already 2 days behind. So you want to get to know how that group operates. How soon are they approving your posts, your auction posts? Make sure you communicate clearly. You know, this is what shipping's going to cost. A lot of people don't deal with international, which is a shame, because the international people would love to create a box and maybe after 10, 20 books, you ship overseas. And there's some ways to ship overseas cheaper, but you may not want to deal with that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that for $1 and $2 books. But if you can get into that market, they might be bidding on stuff, but then they might never pay. So then you got to be very familiar with PayPal goods and services, and that gets into what if people pay cash, will they get a discount? And some groups allow that and some groups don't, and some buyers want to do it and some buyers don't, and you got to learn how to manage all that and what your rules are. So you got to be prepared for all that. And then how you post in your auction. Do you just post the book? Do you type out the full name with the picture of the book? Do you type out the full name with the estimated grade? Do you not type out the put full name and just put a picture of the book and put your estimated grade on there? I like the people that put an estimated grade. You know, I only collect high-end books. So if someone says this is a 7.5 Wolverine 8, I'm just going to keep scrolling, and that's going to save me a lot of time. If I have to reach out and ask for 5 pictures in the middle of an auction, and you don't want to be doing that anyway, so just put an estimated grade on. Granted, someone's going to say, you said it was a 9.4 and it only came back a 9.2, so you got to deal with that. But if you put down a 9.2, I'm going to skip it because I only want 9.4, 9.6 plus raw books. So if you said 9.4 minty or 9.6 plus, now you captured my eye, and I'm going to want to look at that book closer with pictures and stuff, and that's raws. Anyways, I don't really do raws anymore, but when I started, I was doing raws, tried some auctions. The problem becomes when people want to do a bunch of auctions and then they lose at the last second. And then the only thing they won was two $1 books or two $2 books. So do you give some grace if it's under $5 that they don't have to pay now, that they don't have to pay at all? Do you build a box? How are you going to entice people to keep bidding when they think, oh my goodness, I'm doing all these bids, but I might lose everything, and then I'm stuck with these two $2 books. Now I got to pay $15 shipping for two $2 books. I don't want to do that. There's so many other things to consider. So the more you're involved, the more you buy from other auctions, you'll get an idea. Get in there and bid. The temptation is to go in there and bid, and I lost all the big books I wanted, and I was ahead on a $2 book. So I'm tempted to go in there and erase that $2 bid. Some groups might allow that. Some groups might frown on it. Some groups might hate it and boot you from it. There's ways that they can see comments that were deleted. A lot of groups frown on that. You know, you're bidding and then they're subtracting your bid. But that's the inherent problems with doing this on Facebook is it's not set up like an eBay where you can't just cancel your bid, except for that 24-hour weird rule that I still can't even remember what it is or how to explain it. But they got some weird rule. If you cancel within 24 hours of it ending, you can cancel your bid. And then people use that to manipulate the bids, and they bid up really high, and then they cancel it so they can find out what you were trying to bid at the last second. But yeah, reach out and talk to the people doing auctions. Don't do it in the middle of an auction. They don't have time to talk with you, but get to know them, buy from them, see how they communicate, see what kind of discounts they offer, see if, what shipping. Is it a $15 shipping fee for a $1 book? Do they allow you to build a box? So, and if you do a dollar start, those guys who try to put a start bid at what they think fair market value is, you're not going to get anybody to bid. They're going to see your name. They're going to see you're starting the auction at the fair market value, and they're going to be like, I'm never going to look at this dude's auctions again. And they might just block you because they don't want to deal with that. So I would say do 6 months worth of research before you attempt to do an auction. You can always burn a few books just by doing a little auction here and there, 10 books here. Hey, I'm going to do an auction by the end of the day. You may not get the results you want, but you could always play around with that, and that's probably what I'd be tempted to do rather than waiting 6 months. So anyways, hopefully that's helpful. Some guys really do well at it, but these are also the guys that are buying large collections. They're paying probably less than $1 a book. Maybe some cases 15-20 cents a book. So if they're selling it for $3, that's a huge win when you're paying 15-20 cents a book. And I'm talking for fillers. Anyways, happy hunting. Good luck with those auctions. And I really did dig them. Do your marketing, get the word out. Hey, I got this auction going on. I got these great books going on. Make sure you have a hard start. A lot of people try to do fancy things like, if you bid on it in the last 3 minutes, then I'm going to extend it 15 minutes. And so you have different closing times for each book, and it can get a mess. And nobody wants to deal with that. So just make it a hard end, not a soft close, a hard close at a certain time. Turn off commenting, and then everybody can see clearly who the last comment was. And good luck, guys. Take care. Have fun.